What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the round 7 AFLW Game Day Squad show, proudly brought to you by the Game Day Society and AFL Fantasy Fanatics. I'm Mark, and once again, I'm joined here by Bales. Bales, how are we in the second half of the season already?
Yeah, mate. I don't know. It's gone pretty quick. It's good though, right? We're sort of getting to the nitty gritty. We've got enough data now of 6 weeks to know which players we want to pick, which matchups to target. So really looking forward to the back half of the year.
Yeah, same. And before we get into it too deeply, how's your AFLW side been going? Well, last week,
Um,
anyway.
yeah, last week not a great week. What was it? 42nd in starter. 32nd in classics. So they're obviously the main two that I keep track of. Funny enough, my best team, so 18th in Challenger, my best team this week was Champion, which is the one I don't really take too seriously. End up scoring a 29.83 and came 12th for the week. So nice little
Yeah.
3-player unique pack. I don't think I got too much from that one, unfortunately, but still good to get some good points on the board. So yeah, it was interesting to say the least. But at least in the overall leaderboard for starter, I think you've gone above me, but it's still pretty close there. So I'm obviously second in starter, and then classic still second as well. So still a little bit behind Skippers, who I think you realised after a show. I didn't realise either that
Yeah,
Skippers is the guy that got the All Star Strom. So not
I
only did he
know.
steal your Strom, he's now top. He's still top there. So maybe we
It
should
worked
have.
out. It actually might have worked out a little bit nicely for us, so based on how all the rucks
Yeah,
went last week. So maybe it was a tactical decision on my end.
exactly. How'd you
Um,
go?
uh, Similar to you, not the best, but enough to kind of stay in contention in most comps. Uh, Champion, which is the one I'm probably taking most seriously. You actually beat my by a point. I don't know if you noticed. So I came in at 13th, one
Well, I'll
behind
take
you.
I'll take that, considering that's the one I put my sort of almost leftover platinums and stuff like that in there, and pretty happy. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely take that. I think the big thing for us last week, I'm trying to pull up exactly who like the club players were, but like Mon Conti was obviously the big one. I think we both
Yeah.
had her in our midfield, so I think she scored about a 65 or something like that. So not a great score there. Obviously, Shelley Heath put up a
Mm.
lower one as well.
I had Kate
Um,
Horror as well, who
Yep,
had a pretty
Kate.
disappointing one in the middle.
Yeah, Kate Hoare, another one, and then having Mim Strom over Matilda Schultz and Lucy Wales. I'm not sure many people would have faded Strom, but if you did, that would have been a good decision to do. So yeah, a couple of sort of lower scores there.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say now, but I did the EPL stream with you on Saturday, and I don't know. You can probably see in the background I'm frantically trying to change my AFLW side while we're doing the EPL stream because I forgot lockout was happening,
Yeah,
and I was trying to get. So I started Schultz in the ruck, but I was going to be game and try and get Morford in, but then I didn't have the right cards, and I was like, oh, I can't adjust my salary cap on stream; it's going to be too messy. So then I was like, oh, let's just leave it. But anyway,
yeah.
still worked out all right, and made it through the cup. I see as well, big thing.
Yep, yeah, no, it was good. So into another week. I certainly didn't want to get knocked out first week doing a
Mm,
game day squad stream talking about it. But yeah, obviously the good thing is with Classic, I always show my starter squad anyway. So
mhm.
whoever I'm playing doesn't get to steal my secrets of where I'm putting my salary on. So
Yeah, well, I had been sharing my classic squad, but I'm actually going to swap to sharing my starter squad just because I don't want anyone getting any advantages over me. Not that it'll make a difference because I've changed it about 30 times between what I show on the stream and what actually goes into lockout. But
yeah,
anyway, let's jump into round 7. Hey, well, actually, sorry. Before we do that, quick look back at round 6. I've got my key take home messages from the round. I don't know if you have any extra to add, but first of all, we're halfway through the season, and it's great to see that there's less locks, I think, than like the fixture proof players. So we're actually having to kind of think a bit, and there's a lot more variation, which is really nice. Bow's tackle game is just crazy good. Hey, like that game.
yeah.
What was it? 20. 20 plus tackles,
21.
22, I think it
Yeah,
was.
21.
21.
Yeah, 21. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll chat about her when we get to Freo, but we're talking
Yeah.
about less locks than previous years. I think Bowers may have put herself back into that lock territory.
Yeah. Someone else who had a big game, but I'm not as confident on, is Rowbottom, back to probably the kind of scores we're used to seeing for her. But I'm just not convinced it's enough to kind of make its way back. But we'll talk about that again as well. Goldsworthy just playing in the midfield. Just like, first start of the season saw her kind of playing a lot more forward, probably over midfield time, but now we're kind of seeing the reverse of that, and it's just transitioning nicely.
As
And
Liam from Free Kick said, who would have thought Charlie Goldsworthy in the midfield would be a match winner and a very good player there? So hopefully this is
crazy.
a sign of Giants keeping her in the midfield. She's a
So what's
midfielder.
that?
She's a great
Two in a row
midfielder.
for GWS, isn't it?
Yeah, first time since
Yeah.
2021 or something. So
Yeah.
hopefully they keep Zali in the midfield.
Yeah, hopefully. And the last one there, Finn doing it against North Melbourne. Now that to me is a sign that maybe they're a serious player and that maybe we should actually be kind of not thinking of them as a pod anymore. But
I know that Finn's getting it done. And I feel bad still saying this, but I don't know if I can trust wingers. Like it's just something for me for fantasy, not even just AFLW, but for the men's fantasy as well. Just wingers
Yep.
just aren't consistent. But as you say there, you can't ignore anymore. Like
Yeah.
I think we've said that for the last couple of weeks, but I
Yeah.
think if you're keen, I think you can start her. I think you've got to seriously consider at this point.
Yeah. And I think on the Game Day Squad Discord, Danny D, shout out every week. I put out any questions for the show. And his question's always been, is Finn now a good pod option? And everyone always laughs at him, but that's why he's one of the better players, I guess. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
good.
Let's just jump into the next round 7 fixtures straight away, starting Thursday night.
How good is it? How good? We don't have to wait till Saturday for games. Like this is, and I still didn't really get the point of why we had to wait till Saturday. I know the men's finals are on Friday and Saturday night, but we couldn't have had a game for a couple of hours before the men's finals.
Yeah.
We couldn't have had a
Curtain
Thursday
raiser.
game.
Yeah.
Like the only time there was a Thursday night men's final was the first week. Why couldn't we have a Thursday night game and then a Friday afternoon game and just get at least a little bit of like an entree leading into the weekend? But anyway, let's get into this week.
Exactly right. So Geelong Hawthorn kicking us off. Now, Parry's backed it up again with a pretty decent score, but looking at the Hawthorn matchup, does that scare you at all? Or do you think they're becoming like a fixture-proof kind of consistent 100, but not necessarily better?
No, the fixture does scare me a little bit this week. Also with Ash Maloney, Hawthorn are very good defensively. They don't give up too many big scores to forwards because Hawthorn themselves have said that haven't scored as many points what they would have liked the last few weeks. So I'm a bit nervous with the matchup. Obviously, nearly minus 10 points is a fairly big sort of matchup. Like well, if it was over 10 points, you'd be highlighted in red, right? That's exactly what you normally do. If it's over 10, you'd highlight in red or green. So I currently don't have either in my squad at the moment. Obviously, it's Wednesday night. Still got 24 hours to think about this matchup, but I think I'm fairly set with who I'm playing in tomorrow night, and I don't currently have either of the Geelong forwards.
Yeah. What about Georgie Prasparkas? Like, kind of turned it on the last few weeks to kind of reaffirm herself as one of those premium midfield scorers. Coming up against Hawthorn, who have given up some decent scores over the last few weeks to midfielders. Do you think there's an argument to be starting her over, someone like a Kate Hoare or Conti who have kind of let us down a little bit?
Yeah, no, there's definitely scope to be starting Prasparkas in this matchup for sure. We saw what Noffy did a couple of weeks ago to Hawthorn. I think with the midfield, we're going to chat about obviously these other midfields after, but I think I said me and Tom talked about this on our pod on Sunday. I think our 5 mids, are set. I think our top 5 mids are set. I think we know they are. I think it's Ebony Marinoff, Ash Riddell, Jazz Garner, Kiara Bowers, Laura Gardner. They're the 5. They're the ones you're playing, I think, most weeks. I think it comes down to that last spot, and you've got a blanket over probably 5, 6, 7 players that you've got, and Georgia Paspakas is one of those players. So she's definitely in consideration. I don't think I've currently got her sitting in the side, but she's someone that I've definitely thought about long and hard about, and she may make her way in before the game tomorrow night.
And jumping over to the Hawthorn side, that matchup, that
Lucy
matchup
Wales,
looks very
lock.
tasty. Yeah,
Yeah, and with Vukic being in over Ellie Simmons, if that's what they end up doing, which I can actually tell you guys right now, because the teams for this game have dropped, obviously, because we would have this on their show, but for the last few weeks, it's because there's been no Thursday night footy. We haven't had it. So in terms of the changes and stuff for tomorrow night, Kate Darby, Bella Smith, and Bryde O'Rourke come in. Emma Kilpatrick's out injured, Julia Crockett-Grill's out injured, and Gabby Featherstone's been dropped. And then you've got Caitlin Ashmore and Christy Stratton have come in for Emily Everest, who's out injured, and Bridie Hipwell injured. So the fact that Jess Vukic is still in means that there hasn't been, when it was Ellie Simmons, it was a little bit more Ellie Simmons in the ruck, and Lucy Wales would rest a little bit more. Whereas with Vukic, it seems like she's the clear solo ruck, with Vukic sort of spelling her a little bit. So I think with that, with the matchup, I think it's just it's a great play and put some extra salary.
I agree.
As well,
I think this is one of those ones where I'd be focusing on salary into the rucks as opposed to the mids if you've got extra. Forgot to mention the giveaway at the end of the show is going to be a little bit different. We're going to run it old school where we do a buy, sell, swap situation. I'm not sure if you've done any of them in the past, Bales, where we open a 3-player pack, we keep one, someone in the chat gets one, and then we list one on the transfer market for, well, it's 51 cents now because there's a minimum sale fee. But we've got 3 packs to open doing that. So all you have to do to enter to be that giveaway card is just get involved in the chat. We've got Mel in there keeping tabs of who's chatting away from any of the streams. And the cutoff for that will be the end of the fixture run-throughs. So I think that's enough for that game. It's one where there's a few to consider, but no one that's probably, jumping out as especially good, apart from Wales, who's probably on the cards most weeks anyway. Melbourne, Gold Coast. So this is one where we've probably got a fair bit to talk about based on the last few weeks. First of all, Kate Hoare.
Disappointing. So it's funny because she had 2 tackles and a goal in the space of probably 2 or 3 minutes. I think it was in the third quarter. So that score could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for those couple of minutes, which is fair. But obviously, look at the matchup for Gold Coast against forwards, right? So the one thing I'm just checking now, so people wondering what I was on my phone, I'm checking the weather for Casey Fields, because I do remember hearing that it was going to be a tiny bit wet tomorrow at Casey Fields. So it says going to be wet, saying 20%, 30%, 40%. So it's not, I guess, guaranteed to rain. It might just be some showers, but I guess here we go. So where is it? No, I want Thursday, not today. High chance of showers in the southeast suburbs, medium chance elsewhere. Becoming light in the evening. Then so like the fact there's going to be some showers makes me a little bit nervous. A little bit nervous for a lot of these Melbourne players. So Kate Hall might be okay with these tackles, but like the forwards, I was really looking at this week. Like Kate Hall was one of them. Obviously, she's a mid, but does go forward at times. And then Taylor Harris and Eden Zanker. But with the weather, I just don't love any of the forwards at the moment.
I'm still, well, we'll show the size later. I'm still backing in a couple of them, but kind of reluctantly. So they're probably the first on the chopping block once I kind of get inside my own head when I do all my panic transfers. The other one that was a bit of a disappointment was Heath as well.
Well, I think if it's going to be raining, then tackles are going to be up. So I think she'll actually go quite well if it is raining. I'm still backing in Shelley Heath. They're playing Maeve Chaplin in the midfield last week, which I thought was very, very odd. I don't know if that was just a trialing something, but Maeve Chaplin's not a midfielder. She's their best defender and their general back there. So I just think that might have been for maybe a specific matchup or trying something, but I don't think it really worked. Shelley Heath's better in the midfield. I think they're going to need a tackling pressure this week in the wet. Well, it's not going to be wet, right? It's going to be some showers, but still going to be a bit slippery. But yeah, I think Shelley Heath, I'm still backing her in this week. Kate Horse, someone again, Georgia Sparkus in the mix for that M6 spot for me. But Gold Coast, you mentioned Rowbottom. What are your thoughts with Charlie Rowbottom? She looked amazing in that matchup.
I think it might have been the matchup
that
was kind of giving it a bit more curry than it probably would have against, say, Melbourne, who a bit more curry. I don't know. Yeah,
just curry. That's into
just a bit more. They propped up the score a little bit higher than. I think we've seen too much of what Rowbottom has been doing with these. I guess we're putting it on the rule changes, but like it could be other things. But assuming it is the rule changes, I can't see that 1 week she can go from not getting it to then getting it. So if she does it again against Melbourne, 100% get her in going forward. But for me, still sitting her out. What about you? Giving her a chance or?
Not this week. I'm still watching a bit. I have got a Diamond Rowbottom though, so I'll play that in Challenger or Champion and see how we go. And that's probably why I beat you by a point last week, because that Diamond Rowbottom in my Champion side scored quite well. So I'll take that. But yeah, at this stage, not.
Yeah, well, I've got a prize card Rowbottom, which is really annoying me at the moment because I want to play it so badly because it's, in with the cup on at the moment, especially you want to have all your best cards in the competition. So to have a prize card Rowbottom sitting out because they're not good enough to make your side is very, very sad time. So hopefully we see some more consistent big scores, and towards the end of the season, as long as I can stay in the cup, hopefully she'll kind of propel me further. Just going back to Heath though, I know we talk about how, we back her in every week, but looking at her scores, like just objectively, after round 1 where she got 118, she's gone 60, 45, 88, 83, 68. Like, they're not great scores.
Yeah, they're not great. I'm still backing in the role, and she still scored well in patches. And I just think that there'll be games on the way home that she will put it all together and she'll put up some big scores. And it's not. And I think that with the defense, I think we got the 5 locks in midfield. The forward line, it feels like we've got a couple, but there's a lot more variation in terms of matchups. But defense, I think there's 3. I think you got your 3 locks most weeks being
Tilly,
TLR, Watson, and Neve McLaughlin. They're probably the 3. And then you've got very good options like Emma Carney, Charlie Thomas, all those other options there. So I think I've still got Heath in. I'm still backing her in, and I think there'll be a big score around the corner. Could be this week against Gold Coast in a good matchup.
Sure. All right, jumping through to the next one. We've got Essendon, North Melbourne. Now, looking back to the preseason game, did you remember that massive score that North put on against Essendon?
Yep, and it could be a lot more this week because Essendon have got a few more injuries than what they do. North Melbourne look amazing. So I would not go Essendon player. I just can't see it. I can't see it. Jean Anscorn's been great. This is not the matchup. She still could go well, but I don't want to back in there. Bonnie Toogood's been great. Still a good option moving forward, just not this week against North Melbourne. Yeah. And then North Melbourne, I think you lock in Garner, you lock in Riddell. You probably you lock in Carney as well. It's probably
what about those forwards? Like O'Loughlin, Craven?
Well, O'Loughlin's out this week because the lacerated liver, which is not a nice injury at all. And I think Finn McGuinness, had the same sort of injury, and he didn't play for the rest of the year. So could be one where it's a fair while on the sideline for us, O'Loughlin. So it's a big out for North Melbourne. But with the North forwards, the reason I don't like playing any of them really any week is because you don't know which one's going to have the good score. Like it's been Baheen Bogan matchups, and she puts up a really poor score last week. Sometimes it'll be Shearlaw, sometimes it'll be Talia Randall. So I don't like the reason I don't play any North forwards is because there's not really one that stands out at any point because they all do the job. They all kick a couple of goals each and they score solid scores, but none of them really put up a ceiling score. Like, don't get wrong, there'll be a game where Sheila might pop a good score, or Talia Randall, or whoever, but I just don't think there's anyone consistent enough there that I might, I'll back them in most weeks. So Alice O'Loughlin was that last year, but before the injury, even she was sort of going fairly sort of okay. So, yeah, I think pretty much in this match, I think you lock in Garner, Riddell, Carney. I think it's probably it. I don't know if there's anything that you'd add in this game. I feel like it's a fairly straightforward one.
Yeah, I agree. I guess one thing that I can maybe see happening, but probably not still a good fantasy option, is Too Good kind of going back to kind of try and block up the flow and stop the leaks.
That's a good point. Yes, you could play around the ball.
Yeah, but I still don't know if doing that, it would be a good fantasy role. So
I think if she has a good game, she'll probably score a 65 to 85. She'll probably go okay still. But you want those players that have got a good matchup, have got the ability to put up a ceiling score, but they'll probably match what they're like there for the floor, right? So the forwards that we're going to talk about in the other games probably going to do what Bonnie Toogood's going to do anyway, at worst case. At best case, they can put up a 100, 110.
Yeah. What about Boyd for North Melbourne?
No, not for me. There could be a lot of chipping around the back this week. So if you want to take a stab at someone like a Libby Birch to maybe get like 10 marks chipping around the back in the last half. But I think for me, I think that there are better options this week.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right. Moving up, we have Carlton Fremantle. Now, I want to talk about this more. I think Finn has to be on everyone's kind of list for those last 2, 3, well, maybe 2 midfield spots, maybe 1. Purely because, one, doing it against North when we all kind of, gave it the week off effectively, and, we're like, oh, great form, don't expect her to do it against North, but she'll still come good after that. Also, Hill being out, or likely being out, which potentially could maybe bring a bit more in. I really am tempted.
She's been great, but I know that the weaker player will be the week that she puts up a 60. So I'm going to enjoy watching Dana Finn as a player and hope she keeps going well. I just don't think I can back it in. There's something about the wingers that there's one winger in all of fantasy that I trust in men's and women's, and that's Errol Goulden.
Yeah.
It's about it. And he plays some CBA time for Sydney. I don't know. She does great things going back into defense. She's marking everything as well, and she's going great. And there will be people. And if you are keen on Dana Finn, back it in and go and play her. I like my midfielders in fantasy being the inside mids that tackle a lot, that get around the ground. Like you look at like the 5 we said that are locks: Marinoff, Riddell, Garner, Bowers, Gardner. They all play all heavy midfield minutes. They all tackle. They all mark the ball. They get plenty of the ball. I'm probably. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be sort of saying don't start Finn, but that's just like want to start those inside mids.
I think if we had like 4 slots that were like up in the air, it would probably be a no-brainer as a bit of especially this fixture.
If you had utility, if you had like your 5, so your 6 defenders, 6 mid, so 6 defenders, 6 forwards, 5 mids, and a ruck, and then you had like 4 utility spots that scored for you on field. Why not? But I just think that, I think I want to go for those inside mids. But if you want to back it in, go for it.
The one thing that I also don't mind about this is, the fixture where Fremantle have given up a 172 and a 168 this season already to Gardner and Riddell, so 2 great players. But Roberts 126 still as well. There's just so many things that I can see myself doing it. Which
the only thing is though, they're all inside mids. So they're around the ball all the time. Whereas I guess there'll be times where it's on the other wing or whatever. But again, Finn's been great. So
yeah. What about the Fremantle side? Well, anyone else from Carlton that you would consider? I don't think so.
Don't think
for
so.
me.
Carlton remind me of in the women's remind me of the Hawthorns men's fantasy team. There's not really any options most weeks that you want to back in. Finn's probably only one I'm probably looking at. But on the Freo side, Bowers lock. And it feels good to say that again because I was wondering, are we going to get back to the point where Bowers is a lock? But I think she's back there now. I remember buying a platinum in the preseason, and I thought I bought it for about $15 just because I wanted her and Marinoff locked in because I had Garner and Riddell's platinums already. And it feels good to have Bowers back. The only knock I would say that I would like to see Bowers do more is I just want to see those disposals go from the low 20s to the mid to high 20s. And even if it's a couple of tackles dropped off, if you're getting 25, 26, 27 touches a game instead of 21, 22, 23, it just raises that floor and it's not so reliant on tackles. But I feel like Bowers isn't relying on tackles because they're just a given. Like she gets 10, 15 tackles a week. She had one game where she had 4 against North Melbourne where they tried her as a tagger. But every other game, she's gone like 110, 120. And yeah, I feel like I was probably a little bit harsh on the one bad score. And looking back at it being North Melbourne, probably overreacted a little bit. So,
did you have her last week?
No, I had her in champion. So I put the platinum in champion. So another reason I probably got the 1 point win over you. But yeah, I think she's back in, which means I probably won't have a spare one for champion at this stage.
Yeah. No, I haven't played it for a couple of weeks, but from what I've seen, definitely at the point where it's, just lock her in for the rest of the season as long as she's playing, as long as she's fit. Strom. Now, are you still of the opinion that Mim Strom is a lock at R1 every week?
I'm still going to say yes, because I don't want to overreact to one sort of lower score. But there is a conversation, I think, to be had that it's not Strom plus 15 points on every other ruck and then the rest, right? You look at Strom's form's been down, and you could even correlate a little bit to the fact that Bowers is back and stealing a little bit of that those tackles, the touches around the ground or around stoppage. But I'm still backing Strom to have a good back half of the year. It's just that the fact that Lucy Wales, Ali Morfitt, Matilda Schultz are all putting up good scores week in, week out, and we have 2 ruck slots. And last week, if you had Matilda Schultz and Ali Morfitt, which I was contemplating which one of those two I was going to play because they both had great matchups when I should have just played both of them because they had the best matchups. So I think this week, again, Matilda Schultz and Lucy Wells have got the best matchups this week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Matilda Schultz soon. She plays St Kilda, and we talk about Lucy Wells, I think, is there. But Schultz v. Strom this week is a conversation, right? It's that Strom's up against Bree Moody and Jess Good compared to Schultz up against Beckott and Reen Karras. The better matchups with Schultz.
And
I
Schultz
just know
she just bullies the weaker opponents as well. So
I just feel like the week I don't play Strom is the week she goes big.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm still backing her in. But if you need to make points up, and I guess for me and you, right, it's a different situation, right? Because we've had a good start to the year in Classic or Champion for you. We don't have to take the risk of playing a pod, right? But if you're 15th, 20th, just outside the top 20 in your rankings, or you're an underdog, you think, in your cup matchup, go for Schultz and Wales and go against Strom. So I think there's definitely one there. Do you agree with that?
I'm kind of not of the opinion that she's a must start. I'm now looking at the matchups purely and just have like a pool of probably 4 rucks.
And Steph Wells as well, probably is the 5th one that might be in the mix.
That's the one that's coming in.
And maybe Eilish O'Dowd's probably someone as well that we'll chat about maybe back in the mix a little bit because Grace Kosh is out for the year. So maybe there's another ruck.
Yeah. But other than that, Fremantle are a bit of a nothing game day squad side.
I think
that sounds harsh, but
I think their midfield still. I think Ash McCarthy and Gabby Newton can still put up a big score on their day. Like I've got a prize card of Ash McCarthy that I've considered putting at M6 this week because she's prize card. She gets more points.
Yep.
I've thought about it. So that they're probably coupled if you want to go for a pod in the midfield. Carlton can give up some points in the mid. So yeah, something to consider. But yeah, I think it's probably Bowers and probably Strom, and that's probably it. Anya Tai is a few weeks away, so that could be another forward to just keep on your radar when she comes back. Maybe not first week, but someone to look at maybe.
100%. Right. Moving ahead, we have Bulldogs and Collingwood. Probably the big name in this, where a lot of people have been thinking about toss and turning. Georgia Stathis. Are you pulling
Cross
the pin?
out.
Cross? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
Not until I see a role change or a scoring uptick. It's just not there. The points aren't there. So I think that really the Bulldogs as a whole now, I don't think we're trusting anyone. Like even Alice Edmonds has dropped off with her scoring. It's a good matchup though against Barnett this week, but I don't think I'm looking at any dogs. I think that they're all crossed out, which is weird because men's fantasy, we got dogs players everywhere. Like, how many can you fit in? Whereas I think AFLW, I think at the moment, I think I'm probably crossing them off. I think it's about Collingwood this week. I think Barnett is, if she wasn't a lock as a forward for you already, I think last week proved she is. She is a lock. She's in there. I think that Ash Centra, we talked about, I think it was you asked me the question last week, would you rather Fish or Centra as a dynasty asset? And I said you probably slightly lean towards Fish, but wouldn't be shocked if Centra had a big score coming up. And what do you know? She puts up a massive one last week. And I think Centra, Havana Harris, Zippy Fish are the three dynasty assets that you want from this year's crop. They're the ones you want in your club. So I don't think you're starting Ash Centra this week, even as good as she was last week. But she put herself at least on the map to have a look at. But what are your thoughts about Britt Benici in this matchup as that sixth mid?
Yeah,
She's probably a bit of a pod still, I think. I don't think a lot of people are talking about her as much, but this could be a good matchup.
I agree. It's probably I hadn't actually thought about it until you just said it now, and now
I'm... Damn it. No, don't think about it.
No, I don't think I have space for her still, but definitely a good pod option if you are looking to kind of, needing to start playing pods, because we're in the back end of the season now, so we do need to start thinking about that. I'm just looking back at the Western Bulldogs scores, which is an interesting stat I've seen. They haven't had 100+ score since round 3. No one in the Bulldogs has put on 3 figures since round 3. So I think it's pretty safe to say just filter them out of any tables you have. And I wouldn't be considering them. But yeah, that's about it.
Yep.
So St Kilda Port. So do you want to jump straight into Schultz?
Well,
hinted at it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that she's someone that you've got to strongly consider. I think she'd be top 3 ranks this week. And if you're removing all bias from it and you didn't know about Strom's history, Schultz is probably ranked in the top 2 this week. I think Lucy Wales is probably just ahead with the matchup against Geelong, but Schultz has got a great matchup coming up here, and she could go big again, and she just keeps getting it done. So I think that, and as Ryan says, as Pity from shout to Fantasy Bros, Strom does look a little bit more like a pod this week with Schultz and Wales, but I think I'm still backing Strom in. I don't want to go away and then she puts up a 140 and then I go, well, that I should have just played her. So I could easily have egg on my face and Schultz and Wales smashed it out again. Great matchup.
I don't think, you might have not picked the ideal setup, but it's highly unlikely that you'll make a significant kind of call where Strom's still going to score well, even if she's not the number 1, number 2 ruck. So
she's still putting up solid scores. She's still putting up solid scores even without it, right? So I think the fact that Schultz has just put up those 2 monsters this year. But if you take those 2 away, Strom has been the more consistent ruck this year. So what do you want? Do you want the big ceiling or do you want the consistent ruck? Which is weird, right? Would have been saying Strom's the ceiling one. But Schultz is definitely someone to consider. But I think there's a few options here in this game. Like Ash Saint, we always have in our forward lines. Ash Woodland. Sorry, I keep saying Saints is on the screen. I wish that we had these adjusted. But Ash Woodland. The only thing I'd flag with Ash Woodland is, well, first of all, she had a 0.3 quarter last week, I think it was, or second quarter, which is disappointing in its third quarter, disappointing in itself. But Piper Window could be back this week. That's a mid to just watch. That could change Ash Woodland's role a little bit, which that could maybe mean that we're not looking at Woodlands a lock week in, week out. It's just something to look at. But Serene the Dream,
Yeah.
lock her
Can't
in.
believe I dropped her. I can't believe I doubted her.
And
Like,
I held the faith. I held the faith.
I know.
No, I didn't have her
that's
for
why
1
you're
week.
ahead of me.
I didn't have her for 1 week in Game Day squad, but I think every other week I think I've had her in there. I feel like I've been giving a lot of faith to the Saints because I've had Jessie Wardle in the last 2 weeks, and she's been great 2 weeks ago. Okay, last week doing the role, so not the role, the weather. I just think Wardle in this matchup could go big again, so I'm backing her in once again.
Yeah. Anyone else from St Kilda? The one reason I ask is because that midfield matchup for Saints looks pretty good.
Well, Tiana Smith is probably the one if you're going for a pod.
Yeah.
She'd be the one that you're looking at with that mid matchup. I just think Jamie Lambert's been good. Like you could go her as a real pod. But I think if you're going for a pod that's like probably one I'd be happy to tick off, I think Tiana Smith's the one.
No, agreed. All right. We'll keep pushing forward. Next up, we have the Crows versus Sydney. Now, this will be a good game, regardless.
I'll be in attendance, which will be
very nice.
exciting. And also shout out to Ebony Marinoff and Ali Anderson, who also plays at the same time, just obviously in the other game, which we'll chat about straight after this one. First 2 AFLW players to reach 100 games, which is pretty incredible. And they've played every single game that their clubs play, which is, again, is like we talk about Jack Crisp playing all these games in a row. It's pretty incredible that Noffy and Anderson have played every game for their club since they started. So shout out to those two. They're not only great players, but they're very good fantasy players as well. Particularly, obviously, Noffy being one of the best.
To get to 100 games in a 10-game season, and it wasn't even 10 games for a lot of that. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Noffy's a lock. Kind of looking like. Do you think she's back at that kind of tier she was last year?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. She's definitely in there. Like she had a few games at the start of the year where they're a little bit lower than norm, but she was still getting plenty of touches. It's just the fact that now those mids that were scoring a little bit low at the start of the year have adjusted to the new game style of AFLW this year and the rule changes. I think Noffy's back to like the fact she's only averaging 1 point per game less than Ash Riddell, who's been on fire this year, is wild to me. So Noffy's back. Put all the salary on her you can. If you can get in buy on the market, it's going to probably do you quite well. So I think get on board Noffy. Sarah Goodwin's though the one I want to chat to you about because I was keen to watch last week and see what the role was, but she was amazing. And if it wasn't for Noffy getting into the pig junk time areas that he was doing with like the 4+7s,
wasn't it?
he scored like 30 something points in like 3 minutes. It was ridiculous. It was amazing to see. But Sarah Goodwin would have been probably the top scoring Crows player for that game if it wasn't for that. And Anne Hatchard having a 100-point second half. Yeah. I think this is real, this role.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. You're in my DMs before this asking if I had one, and I was tempted to say no just because of how tight we are. But I flicked it through. But I think, you can't, since there's only one score below 80, 2 scores below 103 all year, and now I'm looking at the wrong line. Going 89, 132 though. So that's the role change there is, I think just 100%, especially with
and I think
the kind of like the Melbourne defenders kind of showing a little bit of, what's the word? They're kind of testing our patience a little bit. I think there's definitely room in that back line. Whereas if it was a midfield or maybe even a forward, there might not be so much space. But definitely get them in.
Yeah, I'm really keen. The fact that Caitlin Gould obviously is out for probably the rest of the regular season. Maybe comes back really late, but she'll be out for a while. Chelsea Randall could be back this week. But Sarah Goodwin was so impressive, even just removing fantasy. Like, I noticed her a lot. And I don't know about you, but I normally check fantasy scores maybe midway through the quarter and then the end of the quarter, or sometimes just the end of the quarter, right? But even before Chicken scores, I just knew Goodwin was on a good score. She
Yeah.
was everywhere, getting clearances. I think she was the best clearance player on the day for Adelaide as well. And Daniel Ponta's playing more forward because of Gould being out and Randall, and Hatchard's playing more forward as well. And Goodwin's slotted in there, and they've got the defenders to cover Goodwin not being there, and they've got the
Yeah.
wingers. So I just think this is something where normally we see the first couple of rounds and go, okay, this is a role change, we put him in. Whereas this has been a bit of the fact there's been some injuries, but we heard rumblings in the preseason anyway of there's going to be some more mid-time for Sarah Goodwin, and it looked like just a wing role with maybe the odd CBA, whereas I think now we're starting to see that role, and I think she's like only 21, 22, so bright future for Sarah Goodwin, but I think she's now into a premium defender category, and we've got to strongly consider her
Another
every
name
week.
you just mentioned, Hatchard. Now, what worries? Oh,
Now, stocks down, I think, for me a little bit. I think with Goodwin in the midfield, I think Anne Hatchard's still going to be good. She's going to put up some good scores. I just worry that with Gould out, that she might play a bit more forward. And she played a lot more forward last week because Randall and Gould, were out. So maybe with Randall hopefully back this week, that means that Randall's more forward, which means Hatchard's more in the midfield. But yeah, I just think she's going to be up and down. She's going to have good games. She's going to have some poor games. So if you back her in, she puts up a floor score, then unfortunately that'll be what you cop. But if she puts up a ceiling score, then great. So I don't think I want to trust it, but obviously I love Hatchie and I would love to put her in, but I don't think I can at the moment.
Jumping over to Sydney. Now, as you said at the start, Gardner is lock premium midfielder. Even against Crows, is she like a fixture-proof lock?
Well, look what Charlie Rowbottom did last week. Because I feel like the Adelaide matchup, it says -1, but I feel like the number one mid for the team against the Crows has done all right. I think Hawthorn weren't great, but they haven't had a midfielder really have a strong year, so like individually. Where I think Laura Gardner's the one in the midfield there that's going to go quite well. So I think I'm still backing Laura Gardner in, but is Morford a fade for you with this matchup? Like, look, it's pretty hard. It's nearly -8.
I think
Jess
with
Allen.
the two strong matchup options and then Strom as well on the side, who's just a fixture proof kind of ruck. I think Morford's definitely a fade. But yeah, what about the Sydney forwards? Now, we've been kind of having Malloy and Ham as like probably forward 2-3, 1-2-3, somewhere in there for the whole season. And then just all of a sudden they drop a 67 and a 72 on us. I didn't catch the game, so I don't really know what happened. But was there anything to be concerned about, do you know? Or
I didn't watch this game either. That was on this. Was that the same time as another game? If I'm not mistaken, I reckon there was another game at the same time. I watched that one. Yeah, I watched the Melbourne Eagles game at the same time, so I didn't catch as much of this game. But in these Sydney forwards, like I know they didn't have great scores last week, which I thought they would have, but I think Malloy's just such a good player that her ceiling is just too high that you don't want to leave her out. I think Montana Ham's the one you could have a conversation about, because if you remove, I'm just going to get her scores up now. If you remove that massive score that she had against Gold Coast in round two, where 156, she's gone 87, 80, 106, 88, 72. So not as big as Malloy, but even when you still look at those numbers, they're still pretty good for a forward.
yeah.
And she's still getting a midfield role. So I'm still backing in both Malloy and Ham, lower score. Next week, different conversation. They both play North Melbourne. So that could be something where you maybe fade one or both, sorry. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And it looks like Corey in the comments is saying maybe Ham came off injured. So that
yeah, I think I did read somewhere she came off for a few minutes. So that could be a reason for a lower score as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think you can drop them really. They're, even if it is just one bad game, they're still probably the lock top 3 forwards for me. Anyone else? I'm just looking at the Sydney list here. Oh, one person one player who I'm a little bit tempted by. In fact, no, I'll talk about him on my pod list because I've got him in there. So
Oh, there you go.
we'll save that one for a little bit
Sneak
later.
peek.
Little tease. Yeah. We'll jump through to the next game. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
So Brisbane at Richmond. Ellie Anderson.
I'm starting her this week.
Really
Yep. Yeah, she's my M6.
huge.
She's my M6,
Huge.
which will go to our squads after. I just think the matchup against Richmond is a good matchup. The
Mhm.
fact that it's her 100th game, that they're going to get the ball to her. I don't know from Richmond who would go and stand next to her and tag her. Like, Richmond haven't really run tag. I don't think the matchup's plus 7.3 points. I think this is a matchup where she can go quite well. And maybe it's a little bit silly playing her, but she's been good last 2 weeks. She scored, I think, just over a ton, I think, a 120 the other game. And that was against North Melbourne as well. She put that big score in. I'm actually a fan of Ali Anderson. I don't know what you think, but she's currently sitting as my M6.
I'm definitely a fan of this week. I just looking at that floor score though, she's hit 60, 82, 91, 84.
The thing I like, she looks back in form though. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's sort of like her form at the start of the year. I don't. She must have been carrying something. Like, she wasn't really getting involved as much as what we know. Ali Anderson's someone that has been in the mold of Ashford. Like, she just almost leather poisoning every week, gets the ball so much. Whereas this year it hasn't been as much of that. Whereas the last couple of weeks we've seen her really get back to her best form. So yeah, and whether I keep her there is another thing. But at the moment she's sitting at the moment in the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about like a former, competition best and fairest Brownlow equivalent player.
Definitely.
So like we know that the quality's there. So I rate the call. I just don't have the guts to do it. Another one up forward for Brisbane, who's been having a bit of a decent run the last few weeks, is Hodder as well.
We have not mentioned her once this year, which has probably been a little bit disrespectful because she's actually gone okay. Again, I've got her in my side. She's sitting there at F6 for me. Her tackling was great last week. I still haven't watched as much this game, so I might have to go back and just watch a little bit. But she seemed to play a lot higher up the ground. The tackles were there. And I was probably scarred from last year is the reason I didn't have her in my side. So I'm pretty interested to play her this week in my forward line. Is she in the mix for you, or is she potentially in for you?
She's on the verge of being in. She was in at one point, and then I think Zanka came in for her. But that's not a confident swap. So I feel like the matchup for Hodder is probably going to get her over the line into my side. But I mean, I guess the matchup versus Zanka is good. I mean, Zanka's playing Gold Coast, so
yeah,
that's probably
But I guess it's probably the fact that it's going to be raining. I think with those Melbourne forwards, whereas most weeks I probably wouldn't have Hodder there because I probably would have one of those Melbourne forwards. But with the weather, with it back right, because people say, oh, it's not going to be that bad. It's some showers, but for key forwards that rely on marks and goals, that's a fairly big deal. Because it just means they'll drop those marks and won't get it. So I like that from Tony. Did someone just buy my Platinum Man stuff listening to this? Well, I didn't buy it, but someone may have. So yeah, no, I do like the Anderson pick. Mon Conti, poor score last week, but that's a blip. We know Mon Conti. We've watched it for years. But Brisbane's not a great matchup. It says it's a fairly neutral one, like nearly -1 points on the average. But she's the one that's come out of Anderson for me at the moment.
Yeah, I'm the same with it seems harsh to drop her, but with that, the 4 solid mids, and then you've got 1 or 2 spots that you're kind of fighting for every week, even though she's been consistent and scoring well. She seems to be it's probably more psychological more than anything, but she's sitting in that last spot. So she's gone for me, which, saying it out loud is pretty harsh, but I think it's still a great pick if you have a good card of hers.
If you still got an all-star Conti, you can still definitely play it. this week. So I just don't love that.
Yeah. So quickly jumping back to Brisbane, though, Brisbane defenders, so Conan and Ellinger, are they just off the radar now? Do you think there's been a few kind of disappointing scores?
No, I think Brie Conan's still someone to definitely consider. She's still, even if she's playing defence, she's still someone that just finds a way to score a little bit. That I probably wouldn't play her until I see a better score. But I think Conan's definitely someone like, if I didn't have a Goodwin card, like thankfully I've got a bronze one, cheek off transfer market. Thanks, shout out to no one in particular. And I've got a couple of silvers. I'm fine playing them, but if I didn't have a Goodwin card, Conan was probably the next one I'd be playing. So I'm still fairly comfortable playing Brie Conan. I don't know if you agree, disagree. What do you think about Conan?
I've faded them just to for me, it's just the fact that she hasn't scored above a 80 kind of score all season. And
yeah, so she's someone that you put her in. You know what you're probably going to get most weeks. You're probably just going to get a solid score. You're probably not going to get that ceiling score. So if you want a safe defender, Brie Conan.
Yeah.
Time
out a little bit there, Bales. Yeah, you're back now.
I'm back. Yeah, I don't know if it cut out and said that there, but yeah, I don't know. Computer going a bit funny, but yeah, hopefully you got the gist of what I was saying there. But
yeah, basically you get what you get, but you're probably not going to get much more than that. And what you get is something that you can rely on, basically. So it's still a good shout. So apart from Conti, I think we've talked about this most weeks, but it's basically Conti for Richmond, isn't it?
Yeah. Katie Brennan's the only one in a really good matchup you could half consider. Besides that, agreed. The ruck matchup for Richmond is interesting. The minus 13 points and red matchup. That's an interesting one that I wouldn't have looked at Poppy Kelly and being, it's a really difficult ruck matchup, but it's been all year. So maybe that's something to look at moving forward with Richmond.
Have to look at maybe who she's played against is probably more an indicator of that than actually her ability. Yeah. All right. Heading on. West Coast GWS. Now, West Coast, Thomas is like I don't know why, but like kind of from about rounds 3 to 5, I kind of wrote off Thomas a little bit as someone who's going to be good, but not necessarily kind of, always selectable. But now, like that's completely gone. She's lock 4 probably for me. I don't know if that was because of kind of the competition in my head between, her and other West Coast players, but she's got to be a lock, right?
Yeah, well, you know my thoughts on Charlie Thomas. Been pretty confident with her all year. I think she's great. I think she's a really good defender. Took some good intercept marks last week. Takes all the kick-ins. The only thing I'd tell her is that a couple of kick-ins, she doesn't play on out of the square. And I'll just say, all you got to do, just take a step, half a step out, and you get a touch. You don't need to just kick it while you're still in the square. And that would be an extra 8 points, 12 points a game, and all of a sudden you're looking at a really good average there. So
everyone tweet her, get at her, make sure she plays on. It'll probably work. So.
Yeah, no, but no, I think she's locked in. Ella Roberts, I'm nervous about this matchup a little bit here. Like we saw the Sydney Mids last week, and Beck Beeson will, without a shadow of a doubt, go to Ella Roberts this week. Beck Beeson's been doing some jobs last few weeks. Last week was a little bit on Gardner, a little bit on Malloy, but not really a hard tag. Whereas when there's been an obvious tag, like she went to Noffy, kept her to a lower score a few weeks ago, I think she got to Robertson, put up a not as good a score, but Roberts is a good player that could put up a senior score. But do you just think with the potential run with role from Beck Beeson, you'd probably look for other options this week?
Yeah, 100%. I reckon still put up like that 100, 110 score, but I think
that ceiling's probably not there.
Yeah, definitely. Away from fantasy, how do you see this game turning out? Like GWS a bit on a bit of a run.
Yeah, who did I tip? I think I tipped West Coast because it's at over in Perth. So I'm just looking at my tips here. Yeah, I've gone West Coast at the moment, but it could be a pretty close game, which I think will be good for all their fantasy players, right? Because if it's a close game, it won't get stuck in one forward line or the other. So I think it'll be a good game. So yeah, no, I think I've currently got West Coast winning, but it could be either way. What about those Giants forwards?
Well,
Goldsworthy's a lock.
Goldsworth's a lock.
Tani Evans, maybe Georgie Garnett have both been
I
pretty
think
good.
Garnett's. I think I saw was out with hamstring awareness. So
Is she? Okay.
well, she's on the injury list anyway.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
But then that I don't know if that changes Evans necessarily. Evans has just looked really good. Hey. Like
yeah. No, she's been very press up for. I think she's got 100 on the dot last week. So could be someone you look at here. West Coast have got key defender injuries. So I think Annabelle Johnson coming in last week was good for West Coast. That another good defender in there. So it could be a bit trickier. But yeah, I think it's those Giants forwards. But then Cambridge McCormick's the other one that probably doesn't get talked about enough on here. But she's been pretty consistent. I think she scored another 70-odd last week again.
Yeah, 77, yeah.
But West Coast are a bit of a trickier matchup for defenders, like nearly minus 8 points. That's probably why I'm fading this week. But are you agreeing there?
Yeah, I'm agreeing. She's probably been, or they've been outside of my selection criteria. So not criteria, but like not quite in the 7 options. So I'm not fading her, but I wouldn't be bringing her in this week. You mentioned O'Dowd as well earlier.
Yeah, yep. It's a good matchup. I think she's not going to win the hitouts, right? So it's almost you're looking almost at the mid matchup for Olish O'Dowd because she gets the points around the ground. But yeah, I think that she could be someone you look at as a bit of a pod. Would I go there over one of those other few rucks? No. But she's someone, if you want to take a real shot in the dark and real pod, you could go with Olish O'Dowd.
Yeah. Okay. Garnett, it looks like is an elbow injury, so I must be confusing two people, but on the list regardless. All right. Other than that, I don't really.
I reckon that's all the games. Yeah, I think that's all of them.
Yeah. So, in terms of getting in for the competition, we've now closed. These are my 7 pods for the round, and I'm curious to see what you think. Make sure they're all pod. Well, maybe they're not necessarily pods, but
I've got 2 of them in there, so
yeah, I think they're still kind of pods in that
they will be. They will be, right?
They're not lock kind of players. So I've got Bogue up front, just because I really want to pick one of those North kind of forwards, and I probably see them as the main goal scorer. I don't know what you think. It's kind of hard to tell.
It could be one of them. Yeah, well, she's top for North Melbourne in terms of the goal scoring this year. So yeah, definitely could be one.
And if they get like another 100-point win, then that's someone who they'll be teeing up. Dana Finn, again, talked about him as being pods for a while. Officially made the list. Playing Fremantle, really like the matchup. A lot to like apart from the wing psychological thing. Ali Anderson, great form, great matchup. Milestone game, a lot of ticks. Courtney Hodder, talked about again, just consistently under the radar, someone who will kind of have a decent floor and still capacity to go big. The last one I got there is the one I didn't talk about earlier was Lucy McAvoy for Sydney up against Adelaide. Hasn't had the best scores all season, but the Adelaide tend to give up points to defenders. And depending on what they're doing, it's just one there. It's my most risky kind of pod pick there. I think the other ones are all relatively safe. Maybe Bogue could disappoint, but yeah, what are your thoughts?
No, I like him. Obviously, those two in Ali Anderson and Courtney Hodder were in my pod list as well. I didn't make a list before the pod write it down. I was sort of putting in my head which ones I'd go there. And Anderson and Hodder would have been two that were in my list. I had Britt Benici in my list of 5 pods as well. I think she could be someone if you're looking for a pod in the midfield. I think the matchup's decent enough that she could go quite well. So she would be one. I've got Sarah Goodwin in my pod list. Like, I'm not looking at her as a pod. I'm pretty confident in putting her in, but I think a lot of people wouldn't have quite sort of, it's one good score and they go, okay, there, but the midfield role's there. I like her a lot as an option. And then if I was to go a 5th pod, could I chuck Jessie Wardlaw in for a 3rd week? Because I feel like she's still a bit of a pod. There's another good match against Port Adelaide. Could go really well again. But if I wasn't going to put her, I was going to put someone different. Maybe Tiana Smith in the same game in a really good matchup. Could be a pod. So a lot of pods this week, fair enough, is that M6 spot. Because I think a lot of the ones that we normally would play there have got trickier games or not great matchups. Whereas you're looking at some players like Ali Anderson, Tiana Smith, Britt Benici have got really good matchups, but can you trust them enough as an M6 to put them in there for the week?
Yeah. No, agreed. So I will jump into the team reveals now, I guess. I had a quick look at your side before I put on this slide. And it doesn't look too dissimilar to you. I've got...
So what do you got?
So
you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different. We're normally about 6 or 7 different. I reckon.
And the 6 or 7 different are normally kind of ones that we both considered as well. So it kind of makes sense that we're both sitting so close in all of the leaderboards. Who are actually, I'll talk you through my decision making before we go too far. Lucas, well, I don't really need to talk about Lucas Rod, McLaughlin, or Watson, because we said they're locks. Kearney, pretty much a lock at this point for me. Thomas becoming a lock. Goodwin, we talked about a lot. And then Chaplin's that last one, which it was a toss-up between her and Heath for me. But then again, could also be dropped for many other players. I've got my 4 kind of lock midfields. I feel like there's one I'm missing. Oh, I've dropped Garner by mistake. Sorry.
You don't have to play her. Keep her out.
No, I think I really like Georgie Prasparkas this week, so I probably will be dropping Hoare out of those for Garner.
Yep.
But the others are all locks. I've gone Wales Schultz, which I don't know if that's to be honest, that's probably the standard ruck pairing this week for a lot of people.
Could be, yeah.
And then forward line, I've gone Craven and Zanka as my 2 kind of poddish players for the week. But again, Wardlaw, a lot of other options that could be coming in.
Yeah.
All right. We'll jump over to your side while I get the list together for the wheel, just for those going in the running for our packs.
Yeah, so, pretty much same defence. Only difference being I've got Heath in there over Chaplin, but we've got the same other 6 in Toulouse, Rodney, McLaughlin, Serene Watson, Emma Carney, Charlie Thomas, and Sarah Goodwin. Midfield, pretty stock stand in terms of the 5 being Riddell, Marinoff, Garner, Gardner, and Bowers. But as you can see there, Anderson is sitting on the bench there against Richmond. So whether I play her, I feel like I want to play Noffy and Anderson, particularly this week, because they're both playing their 100th game. I feel like there's a little bit in that as well. So Anderson is currently sitting there. I do still have Mimstrom there, still backing her in. But yeah, it is a conversation that needs to be had. And I've got Wales with that matchup against Geelong. And then the forward line, so Goldsworthy, Malloy, Ham, Woodland, and Barnett, who we've both got, those 5. I've gone for Hodder for that Richard matchup. And I've also got Jessie Wardlaw sitting there as well. I think that's another good matchup for Wardlaw. So that's where we're sitting. So I think it's Heath. Well, we got 5 different because you'll put Gardner in over Hoare. So it's Heath, Anderson, Strom, Hodder, and Wardlaw versus Chaplin, Georgie Prasparkas, Matilda Schultz, Eden Zanker, and Tess Craven.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
And all those players you've said are players that are highly on my list, as like high up on my list as well. So I can see it be even less by the time lockout hits tomorrow night. Remember, everyone, tomorrow night is lockout. So that brings us to the end of the show, but we've still got the giveaways. So I don't know if everyone remembers back when the boys used to do the AFL show. They used to do a buy, sell, swap where they'd open a 3-player pack. They'd keep one of the cards for themselves. They'd give one of the cards away to a winner, and then they'd list the third card for the minimum amount on the transfer market, so someone can get a bargain. I'm going to open one. You're going to open one, and then we've got Mel, who's been keeping things afloat in the background. She's going to do the third one. Well, in fact, I'll open all of them, but you can make the calls. And then, we'll give away some cards. So
Beautiful.
I'm just going to share my screen now so we can check out the wheel. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to draw all three. So then we can just rip some packs.
Yep.
And we'll do it in the order. So the first two will get a common pack. The third one is a rare pack. So there's a potential for some decent cards here. So first up, we've got you, who's been a winner previously through the show. So well done. Next up, we have Ryan P.
Oh, Pity from Fantasy Bros.
Very nice. And then thirdly, we have this one's for the rare pack, so the better pack option. Right. Rich get richer. Tony's Legends.
No, change it. Give the rare one to someone. Tony gets too much. You'd see his name always at the top. No, congrats, Tony. Congrats on another win. He's always up there, Tony. I think he's certainly a very good coach.
Yeah, beautiful. And what I'll do is see how I can swap it over to my game.
Well, give me the pack with Tony then, because if there's something really good, I won't feel too bad about taking that card and then giving. Yeah, I reckon that'll make me feel better.
Nah, we've got too much integrity on this show. He gets the rare. Mills ripping the rare. Unlucky. So you can have the first one though. So what I'll do is that's good size. I'm just gonna do my refresh like you do if you've been away for too long. Oh, because I'm casting it as well, it's gonna bug out a bit. Oh, here we go. So, see, you got the 2 commons and the 1 rare. It felt so weird buying 3-player packs because it's
it's just 9 players, or that's it. So, yep.
But this one's for you. So, hopefully, it's up to you whether you keep the good cards, you give them away.
Okay.
Max, so people who don't know, if it just does a spin when you open a pack, it means the highest you've got is
gold.
In this case, it'll be a gold. So we've got silver, gold. So 2 golds at least.
Well, this is 2 golds.
So first option is Sard.
Sard, yep. Not playing at the moment, I don't think.
Stubbs.
Georgia Stubbs.
Taylor.
Oh, jeez.
That's a pretty garbage pack, to be honest. Sorry, Izzy has won a decent.
I'm at the point. Just give Izzy all 3 cards. I think.
Give 3. Well, one of them's going up on the marketplace, so you've got to pick one.
Oh no, in terms of like, I don't even think any of those cards be worth 51 cents. So
that's fair.
I'm happy to give all 3 to Izzy, and you can use them in exchange at some point.
That's a fair point.
So, because the cat pack wasn't great, I'll give all 3 to Izzy, I reckon.
Yeah, I rate that call.
So sorry, Izzy, that they're not great cards, but I guess at least you can use some for an exchange, maybe.
No, all good. Now I will open mine, and then Mel, get ready in the chat to give your options for your pack after this.
Yeah, I remember doing this with Tom last year, and I remember one of the packs he got a All-Star Ash Riddell, and I was really angry. So I'm going to be annoyed if one of your
Did he keep that?
Yeah. Well, I think it was one where it's like, well, he's going to keep it. I don't think he's going
Yeah.
to give that away. Oh, geez, another one. These have
Like, I
not been
hope
good so far.
the thing is with the new competitions, it's sometimes not bad getting the silver and gold cards. It's just you need them to be playable cards, otherwise it's just a waste.
Harry Corden's not bad. Yep. That's
Quarters a playable card, I think.
Yep.
Uh,
Taylor again.
Taylor again. And then Brezendale.
Brezendale.
So what I'm going to do is I'll give away I'm going to do the same. I'm going to give the Cordner away, but I'm just going to give away all three, to be honest, because I don't think either one of those other ones will sell for 51 cents.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And I don't need them. So all three are yours, Ryan P.
At least Cordner's something to get out of the pack. You might be able to use Cordner in the contender if you're there, or classic.
I think I have played Cordner one game this season.
Oh yeah, you have. Yep. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
All right. So hopefully this has been a bit of a letdown. But to be fair, I gave away an all-star Mimstrom last week. So get out of my DMs if you're complaining about what I'm giving away on this show. But the last one, going to Tony's Legends, of course.
What you can just tell there's going to be something here, can't you?
This is going to be a legend.
Well, his name's Tony's Legends on thing, so that's here we go.
If it's a legend, Melissa, don't feel bad about keeping it. I just want to put that out there.
Are you
kidding?
What is this? Actually, one thing I've noticed, rare packs are garbage because I never get anything good in rare packs. It's either unique or common. I think you're almost more likely to get a platinum or a diamond in a common pack than a rare one. I feel like every rare pack you just get golds. You might get the odd platinum, but that's it.
Yeah, I think on my common 9-player pack I got from prizes this week, I got 2 platinums and a diamond.
Yeah,
in a common pack, which is maybe check your numbers in the background, boys. You might have got things mixed up. But all right, let's.
You got Sarah Lakai,
Right.
Holly Old, and Deathridge.
So that might be the end of this segment, I think, because that was just that was
maybe we need to do just like instead of doing three, maybe we just need to do one like unique
9.
Or like not 9-play unique pack a week, and then you keep 3, give away. You keep 3, you give 3, and you list 3 on the market or something.
Yeah, and
maybe we'll see what we do. But
yeah, Melissa, in the comments, let us know what you want to keep out of that. I don't think there's much worth keeping, but anyway, that about wraps us up. So thanks again, Bales, for being on the show. Any last piece of advice, especially going into the second round of the Cup, where there's potentially a lot on the line?
Just probably just usual. Just enjoy the games, enjoy the rounds. Obviously, we've got the men's grand final on Saturday, which will be really fun watching that. Always do. So enjoy the weekend and follow at Bales DT across socials at AFL Fantasy Fans on X and use the code Bales DT. Sign up if you haven't signed up to GameDay Squad yet. Still plenty of exciting stuff, not just AFLW, but you still got the grand final for AFL. You still got NRL last few finals to go. You got basketball that's just started last week. Big Bash will be a couple months away. Still plenty of exciting things. Use code BalesDT to sign up and head to GameDaySquad.com.au. It's free to play.
Beautiful. And on those socials as well, Game Day Society on Insta, GDS Society on X, and here on the Game Day Society on YouTube. So thanks, Game Bales. Best of luck in the Cup, in all the competitions that we're fighting in. But it'll be interesting to see how we are next week.
Yep. See you, everyone.